Welcome to the Answers for Elders radio show. Meet the trusted experts who will give you straight answers and will help guide you on the path of later life care. Now, here's your host, founder, caregiver, and CEO, Suzanne Newman.
And welcome everyone to Answers for Elders radio network, heard across the USA. We are very honored in the month of September to be focusing on Alzheimer's disease. This is a real powerful topic for me. My mother had vascular dementia. She never progressed to the point where she didn't know me, but she would get things confused. She didn't have a lot of her faculties, as we say, to be able to do a lot of conversational things. She kind of learned to withdraw, or her filters were gone and she would say things that would embarrass me like crazy, as you probably can imagine. Those of you families out there that have a loved one and they'll say, "Oh, I can't believe, grandmother said this," or anything like that. And so having a greater awareness and being educated on how to best support your loved one with Alzheimer's dementia is really the purpose. But even more importantly, working with the Alzheimer's Association as walks continue across the USA, it is to raise money for clinical research and for resources for families like me who need to rely on, how do we do all this? How do we best support our loved ones? And we encourage each and every one of you to please support the walks. You don't have to walk. You don't have to build a team. If you can just give $5, we appreciate it. And certainly it all goes to an amazing resource that we're going to be talking about today. And we are very honored to have the program director of the Alzheimer's Association, and that is Alexis Bonoff. And Alexis, you are based out of Richland, Washington, but you're very connected to what's going on in the USA, what kind of resources are out there. So welcome to Answers for Elders, Alexis.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
Tell me a little bit about the whole impact of Alzheimer's and dementia across the USA.
Sure. I mean, if we're looking at the entire United States, there's about 7 million Americans who are living with Alzheimer's. And that number, that's expected to rise to nearly 13 million by 2050.
Amazing.
So it is just going up. And right now we're looking at the lifetime for risk for Alzheimer's at age 45 is 1 in 5 for women and 1 in 10 for men. So there are quite a few people out there. And of course, the thing about Alzheimer's is it's not just the person with the Alzheimer's that's being affected.
Right.
It is the family, it is the friends, it's the community. And we're even looking at over 11 million people who are providing unpaid care to those people with Alzheimer's.
Mm-hmm.
So it really has a tremendous effect, because as you know, not just on the individual, but on the circles of the around them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I remember talking about that 11 million people that are providing unpaid care. We are unskilled. We have no clue, how to communicate. And oftentimes, I remember taking care of my mom, and I tried to be like, if a doctor would ask her questions and she would answer them completely wrong. And of course, then I'd we have to make sure that everything's perfect, And so what would happen is it would cause friction between my mother and I, because my mom's reality was her reality, right? So I had to learn the hard way how to facilitate communication, not only between her and me, but her and her doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Or her and, anyone else that she dialogues with. It's almost like a code system or whatever. Alexis, do you find that that's one of the biggest hurdles? I know that was for me.
For communication, oh, for sure. And the stress that's being put on you as a caregiver is another huge thing.
Mm-hmm.
One of the biggest reasons why we're here and why we exist is to support the caregiver.
Yeah. And of course, that and families, the Alzheimer's Association has amazing resources for families who are caring for loved ones with Alzheimer's and dementia. Could you give us kind of an overview of the resources of the Alzheimer's Association?
Sure. So we do things that are pretty broad and then things that are really specific. So one of the kind of more broader things we do are education programs. And we do these all over the place. We'll come to your Elks Club, we'll go to your business and do a lunch and learn. And that's really that kind of overall 10 warning signs, what should you be
Hmm.
looking for, but also more detailed things like you were just talking about communication. We talk about how are some different ways we can communicate
Sure.
with the person with Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
Another thing that we do that really focuses on the caregiver is our support groups. And these come in many different varieties. We have them online, we have them in person. We have some that are just for men. We have some that are just for adult children taking care of their parents.
Yeah.
So that's something we do. We also do a lot of early stage memory loss programs. So that kind of getting into that, oh my gosh, we're in it now. How do we do this? How do we go from
Yeah.
here? To give you kind of the tricks and tools to be able to manage the next phase of the of.
Hmm. Yeah. And the thing that's so, I think, powerful about the Alzheimer's Association is that everybody that you talk to is trained staff. They are qualified providers, social workers, et cetera, that are they're not just a voice on the phone. They are absolutely experts in this topic. They can help families with so many things. And I was lucky in the fact that when my mom was in a care facility, the nurse took me aside and she
Mm,
basically said, Suzanne, your mother's reality is her reality. You're not going to change that. But what you can do is help her, and help in other ways. And so she helped me kind of reframe. I learned little things like stay quiet in the doctor's office, take
mhm.
10 minutes, write a note to the doctor, hand it to the front desk in a white envelope. When you get there, the doctor will read it. And then I can sit there as her daughter and she's going to say whatever she's going to say. And the doctor knows. They already know her diagnosis. They can read between the lines. These are professionals that can do things like that. And I think that's one of the things that's so powerful about people that work with Alzheimer's every day. They know how to help facilitate a lot of these issues.
I completely agree with that. And
Yeah,
you
yeah.
mentioned giving a call. We do have a hotline that is
Yes.
available 24/7. So you can call at 3 a.m. if you've got worries, wake up in
On
the morning
Christmas Day,
on Christmas
that's
Day.
when all the issues happen, as you know.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, family gatherings get heightened and so that is 1-800-272-3900. And as you said, those people are trained on the other side to help you out with any little thing or anything,
Mhm.
a way to present a plan.
Right, right. And so now we have a walk coming up in neighborhoods all across the USA. How can people support the walks, Alexis?
You can show up, you can make a team, you can donate, as you said, and that again is the alz.org /walk. There is a
Mm-hmm.
walk everywhere across the United States, and it's really a celebration of
Mm-hmm.
somebody who might be going through it, a
Mm-hmm.
celebration who somebody might have passed, but
Yeah.
also the fight for the person who does not have to even deal with it.
Yeah.
So that sense of hope, and we're fighting
Mm-hmm.
for that hope.
Yeah, and I think really that sense of hope is real now for the first time. And we're going to talk about in this hour really the power of clinical research and clinical trials and how we're making breakthroughs in scientific research, much in thanks to the Alzheimer's Association. Is the Alzheimer's Association is the largest nonprofit entity that contributes to clinical research through your donations. And this is powerful. So if you're a woman, you have a 20% chance, 1 in 5, of of having Alzheimer's in your life. But there are things that we can do now before symptoms even show up. And that's the exciting part about what's happening in clinical research. And of course, Alexis and I, we're going to go through this right after this. Let's work together and help fund a cure in supporting the Walk to End Alzheimer's this year. And learn more and donate by visiting alz like zebra.org or just call 800-272-3900. That's alz.org or 800-272-3900.